everyone, Lau here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the kind of second part of my pony poses video. So in one of my last videos I tried to explain all about like pony poses, what is a pony pose, like why aren't there like completely like only unique ponies, why did they reuse poses, and I tried to like get an overview for you out for like all of the 4 pony generations, and it has become like a very long video. I kind of apologize, but also I didn't want to like cut it in 2 parts, because then it would have just been like, I don't know, the first part about generation 1 and 2 and the second part about generation 3 and 4 or something, but I'm not that like well informed about generation 3 and 4, so it wouldn't have been like a very good video, the second part. So no, I decided to put it in one video, and probably today is going to be another very long video, because in this video I'm going to show you each and every pony pose of generation 1. So this is just a G1 video. I won't make these videos about like generation 2, 3, etc., because A, I do not have so many ponies of those generations, and B, it's just not my main focus, and I have like most ponies and most knowledge in generation 1. And I'm going to rank the ponies in 2 different ways. Like the first way, where I really want to show you each and every pony pose, is I want to rank them by how often they were used for ponies. So I really counted like this and this pony pose was used for, I don't know, 20 different ponies, and I'm gonna show you this. Then I want to also rank them like by how much I love each pose, so this will be hopefully a little bit quicker, where I'm just going through, oh, I like this one most, and this, and da. And yeah, it's also clear that I do not own every pony in every pose, or generally I do not have like every pose. So for those, I will just quickly go over them and like maybe edit a photo in like in post. But in post, it sounds like as if I'm like a super like professional, like I don't know, video maker and no, just like edit it in afterwards. So hi, I just need to interrupt shortly here, because I need to give a shout out like to the toy community on Instagram. Because so many of you helped me out with sending photos of the pony poses that I was missing when I asked for it, and thank you so much to, now the names, yeah, Plastic Beeps, My Little Pony UK Collector, My Little Pony Obsession, Maxime from My Old Toy Collection, My Little Memories, Sabine from Monsters and Rainbows, Blossom Forth, Sarah from Bruce Core 567, Y-Pie, Gretje from Griso's Pony Collection, and also thank you to Wimimic, I don't know if that was the correct pronunciation, Little Starglow, and also Patricia from Patricia Collects. The last 3 also offered me to send photos, but then in the end I already had them. So, but thank you to all of you, like that's so generous, because obviously I didn't want to show the ponies in the poses that I don't have while just stealing photos from the internet. So I will show the photos that were sent to me by those people, and always like link them down, or show the name and the photo, and also link down below all of their super cool like Instagram pages, where you can look through and find so many great pony and toy pictures. So that's another treat, so you can look at all of those Instagram profiles. But let's get back to the video. So you might already notice that my pony display behind me looks a little bit empty. That's because like on my table here I got out so many ponies, because I decided to, when I show you a pose, to show you always like if I have 2 ponies as an example in this pose. So that's why like I realized, okay, it looks a little bit empty behind me. But let's start with the pony poses that were least used in generation 1, and I did decide to put them all completely like together, not separated by what baby and what, I don't know, unicorn and whatever, all in general, and sometimes I will point out special things about the poses or stuff. So obviously there are poses that were just used like for one specific pony. For example, let's just get them out here, the pony friends. I do not have all of them, like these are like 3 of the pony friends. They are not ponies, they are, as you see, other animals. We've got the zebra, we've got a camel, and we've got a giraffe. There are also like, there's a moose, there's a dinosaur, there's a llama, you know, there's a lion, an elephant. And there's just like always like one special, like one particular toy in this specific pose. That's why it's a unique pose. So it's the start of the video. There's also like these 2 that I have from the Baby Pony and Pretty Pals. They are also actually pony friends, but you would more call them Pretty Pals because they were released in a different set. And yeah, I have another pony that was just a pony pose that was just used once. This is the Baby Snookums pose. And actually all of these drink and wet pony poses are unique poses, so just used for one pony. I can insert just pictures for the others. And there are also other ponies like the surprise twin pony, like the surprise twin pose was just used for one pony. And also the newborn bouncy pose. So like these were just like unique pony poses. Let's keep it going with the pony poses that were used at least for 2 different ponies. And what I definitely have to tell you, I forgot to tell you that I'm just counting in ponies like of the, like, let's say normal releases of like the US, Europe. Like I do not count in like all of the different international exclusive variants like of a pony. Then I would have to like count it in a different way, because like I don't know how many, I don't know, peachy versions there were also, or how many blossom versions, so especially of the early ponies. I did not count this. When there is like a pony with its name, then it's counted as one pony. Doesn't matter if in Argentina or in Mexico the same pony was released with a different color or a different hairstyle or whatever. It is still this pony in this pose, then it's counted for this pose once. You know, this is how I did it. So okay, let's keep it going with ponies that were just released like twice, like for 2 different ponies. And to be honest, I only have one of them to show you right here. And this is the bunny hop pose. This is actually not bunny hop, this is Lil Pocket, so the other pony, but they were both together released in the same set of the Precious Pocket ponies. They have all this sculpted on cutie mark, where actually there would be like something that you can put in like a pocket, so Precious Pocket pony. And this pose actually was released in 1990, so pretty late in the pony line. And I have like no idea why so late they still developed a new mold for a pony and then never used it again. It is just in this very set released for 2 different ponies. But there are other poses that were also just used for the 2 adult ballerina poses, the wing song pose, a flutter pony pose, the baby Noddins pose, which is a peekaboo baby unicorn pose, the Betty Bye-Eye Pegasus pose. I think I have never talked to you about the Betty Bye-Eye ponies because I do not have any. They are baby ponies that have blinking eyes, like dolls, that when you would lay them down, they would close their eyes. I do not have any of them. They look kinda creepy. Anyways, the Pegasus pose for the Betty Bye-Eyes, also just for 2 different ponies used. the baby countdown pose, which is a boy pose, the baby peaks pose, and the newborn dibbles pose. Those were just used for two different ponies, so they are at the lower end. I can, for an example, just show you this. This is the bunny hop pose. Then you could also say that because they are a special pose. Let's get them out. I showed them to you like in my first video. You could say that this is still the posy pose, or you say that this is a special pose because it got the molded on saddle. So this was also just used for two different ponies. So the flower bouquet pose, and the same goes for these girls, also just used for these two different ponies, all in the merry-go-round pony set. This is based on the Tootsie pose, but it is actually the, I don't even actually know if it Hassel's pose or the Brilliant Blossom pose, so either one of the two, but because of this molded on saddle, you could say it is a separate pose and it was just used for these two ponies. Same goes for this, I do not have the other ones. So they are also like, if you do not count them in for the Tootsie pose and for the posy pose, they are also used for two different ponies. Same would go for the roller skate pose, which is also based on the posy pose, but as it has got molded on roller skates, it is a different pose, and just three different ponies were released. So now we're at the ponies that were released, like the poses that were released for three different ponies. Roller skate pose, the honeysuckle pose, this is a flutter pony pose. The baby cuddles pose was also just used for three different ponies, which is kind of ridiculous because I don't know why. It's just used for those two, and then it also was released with the with the play set together. And like, why was this baby pose not used more often? Like, I have no clue. But still, these two ponies you find so often. Like, they are super common, but they are the only ones that you will ever find probably in this pose. And then I have, this is the baby whirly twirl pose, one of the 4 boy poses that are like in existence, and one that has like a moving head, and I only have one of them. Like, this is the baby whirly twirl pose, but also the baby ribs pose, which looks very similar, was also just used for 3 different ponies. Then we have the baby mermaid poses that were also just used for 3 different ponies. There are other baby sea ponies in the sand dollar pose, which was also just used for 3 different ponies. Then there is the truly pose, also just used for 3 different ponies. The cloud puff pose, which is another one of the flutter poses. Can't show you a pony, but also just used for 3 different ponies. And there is the baby lollipop pose, a super late pose that was just used like for ponies that were released like super late in the game. You know, those ponies with the sweets on them, like the baby ponies, or one of the like Dutch exclusive baby ponies right in the end. Like, super cute pose. So sad that they are not like really available anywhere, like, because they are so rare. Now it's time to show you the pony poses that were at least used for 4 different ponies. So we have the no horn powder pose. Why is it such a strange name? That's because actually the powder pose is the same pose but has got a horn. So that means this is the no horn powder pose, and it has actually nothing to do like with this, because these are the Nance and Prance ponies, but this is the only pony set that was released with this pose, so they all have this wheel here in the front, but this has nothing to do with the pose itself. The no horn powder pose. Yeah, the bubblefish pose. Also a very late pony pose that was first released in the same set together with the ponies of the bunny hops pose that you remember. We have just 2 ponies. The bubblefish pose, there were 4 different ponies released because there is one other set, which are these ponies of the talking ponies, which are also in this pose. So this is the bubblefish pose, although both of the ponies aren't bubblefish. Bubblefish is one of the precious pocket ponies. Then we have the moon dancer pose. Very early unicorn pose, but if you do not count in any of the international exclusive variations of, I don't know, all those early ponies, for example, Moon Dancer, this is Moon Dancer. If you do not count them in, then it's just 4 different ponies released in this pose. Same goes for the mimic pose. I do not have mimic. Mimic's one of the most sought after ponies ever. Can't show you that, but I have 2 other ponies, 2 other unicorns here you can see, which are in the same pose. This is the mimic pose, and yeah, if you do not count the many variations of Princess Sparkle here, because there are like different variations with different hair and different here like symbols, etc., etc., and then it's actually just 4 ponies released in this pose. The text pose. Yeah, this is one of the adult boy pony poses, and the one that was least used because just 4 different ponies were released in this pose. This is text, by the way, so text pose. Then the baby quackers pose. This is a pose of the first tooth baby ponies, which means they have this white tooth sticking out here, and this is baby quackers, so the pose is named after this pony, the first one released in this pose, but just 4 different ponies ever to be released in this pose. Also, there are many ponies just like 4 times released, because many sets sometimes consist of 4 different ponies, which is exactly why we have 4 different ponies in the baby ballerina pose. This is a like completely movable pose where you can move every leg and the head, and they have these like ballerina overall things, bodies. And because the set consists of 4 different ponies, we have 4 different ponies released in this pose, because there's just one ballerina set of baby ballerina ponies. So the baby tappy pose, a newborn baby pose, which was also just used for 4 different ponies. I can only show you one, like this set is this. So another one of the baby newborn baby pony poses, the baby yo-yo pose, also used for 4 different ponies. There are more. They were also just used for 4 different ponies, which I can't show you, but the secret surprise pose, which is like also one set of ponies that were released in this pose and very late in the circle of like the generation 1, so never used again. Actually, all of the winger pony poses, so there are sets of the Winnie Wing ponies and the Summer Wing ponies. They have butterflies. They are like small ponies, like sized like baby ponies. I can't show you any. I do not own any of them. They're very expensive. right now. I had one as a child, so I had moon jumper, but anyways, there are 3 different poses called the buzzer pose, the glow pose, and the high flyer pose. And all of these poses were used for 4 different ponies. Sound correct? That would mean we would have 12 different winger ponies altogether. And there's another newborn baby pose, you know, those guys here, the newborn sandcastle pose, which is also used for 4 different ponies. And this is, let's say, as a side note, there are quite a lot of these newborn baby poses. I didn't realize that before I started to like count all of that. So in my first video I already said it. There are so many of these newborn poses. Okay, now let's get to the pony poses that were used for 5 different ponies. Let's start with the glory pose. I don't have glory. This is another like early pony pose. Here we've got glory, majesty, for example, or moonstone. But this is the pose. Unicorn pose, 1 leg up. So 5 different ponies just released in this pose. Same goes for the firefly pose. I don't have Firefly, the pony that is like the pose is named after, but I have like 2 different ones here. Also a very early pony pose that like in the later pony years wasn't used very often anymore. Baby boy pose. So the first baby boy pose actually that did not have any of these like Clydesdale hoof hair markings, let's say it like this, just a little bit more stout, more sturdy. The first baby boy pose, and this is actually the pony, the first one that it's actually called Baby Lucky, so the pose is just called like baby boy pose because it was the very first baby boy pony. A mail order exclusive, by the way, so the baby boy pose was tested out for like the mail order system at first because they really produced it also for other ponies. But as you see, there aren't so many ponies released in this pose, so just 5. And yeah, just 5 different ponies released in those teeny weeny poses. Like this is the baby, this is the little giggles, no, this is the little whiskers pose. Sorry, sometimes I mix them up. So this is the straight pose that looks just straight ahead. And the other one is the baby giggles pose. So this is baby giggles. Also teeny weeny ponies. They look more to the side a little bit if you, for example, want to compare them. Then you can see that these are different poses. 5 ponies in this pose, 5 ponies in this pose. That's actually all of the ponies that pony poses that were like used 5 times, like for 5 single different ponies. Next spot, so this pose was used for 6 different ponies. We've got the powder pose. So this is the equivalent, you can see, to the no horn powder pose, because this pose got a horn. The first pony used this pose was powder. I do not have powder, so I can't show you it. It's one of the early ponies as well, but used for the dance and prance ponies. Also like for the dance and prance ponies, as you can see, with horn and without. So the powder pose and the no horn powder pose. The pony powder and some of the others that use this pose don't have this thing here, so this is just because of this specific pony set here. A pose that was used like for 6 different ponies, which is the newborn shovels pose. This is not the pony shovels, this is baby giggles, but it is a newborn pony that's a unicorn. So yeah, this pose and the other 6 different ponies released in this pose. That were used for 7 different ponies, a little bit more. We have 2 of the baby sea pony poses. Cannot show you because I don't have them. The tiny bubbles and the water lily pose was used for 7 different ponies. It always like amazes me, like that I really don't know anything about the baby sea ponies. I didn't know that there were or the baby sea ponies in general. I didn't know that there were so many different ponies released in these sea poses, but apparently there were, because I don't have any of them. I just have one sea pony. But, yeah. Then 7 different ponies released actually in the bride pose. That was also like, if you think of like poses that were not used very often, to me like the bride pose actually comes up, but actually 7 different ponies were released in this pose. So it's not one of the like least used poses, to be honest. Then we have the wizard pose. This one, which is like standing on the tip of its hooves and is a Pegasus. This actually even is wizard. So the pony that the pose is named after, same as for the bride. You probably have guessed that this is the bride. This is the bride pose, and she looks even like a bride. Well, but this, as I said, this is wizard. And the interesting thing is like, yeah, I say 7 different ponies are released in this pose, but actually 4 of them are so soft ponies. So soft ponies are like flocked ponies that you know, have this fuzzy overcoat. And this is a set of ponies that was never released in Europe, so they're not easy to get over here. Honestly, do not really like them so much, so I'm never on a hunt for them. And then another pony in the Happy Tails set, which was also not used and not released in Europe. And then the only pony actually available in Europe is Wizard. Yeah. Strange, but that's how it is, and I only have this, so I can just show you one of the pony pose. Also used for 7 different ponies was the other boy pose here, the steamer pose. This is steamer, and yeah, as you can see, like this pose was a little bit more often used than the text pose that we had before. So 7 different boy ponies in the steamer pose. Also used for 7 different ponies, another one of the flutter pony poses, the rose dust pose. Well, this is actually rose dust, and I have another one to show you. So 7 different flutter ponies in the rose dust pose. Then another baby pose here, 7 different ponies actually released in the baby bouncy pose. This is not Baby Bouncy, this is Baby North Star. I don't have Baby Bouncy, but it came out in the same set. Again, one with the first tooth baby ponies, so that has the sticking out white tooth here. And I can only show you one because I have only one pony that has exactly this pose. Also used for 7 different ponies is the Earth baby pose of the Betty by Eye baby ponies. So there was also an Earth baby pony pose with blinking eyes. 7 different ponies had this pose. Let's get it going with the pony poses that were used for 8 different ponies. And let's start with the dancing butterflies pose. So the yellow pony is dancing butterflies. Oh my goodness, his hair. And also 8 different ponies were released in this pose, a very significant pose. You can really see that it's going like, if you have them all together on the shelves, it looks a little bit funny, but very interesting pony pose, let's say it like this. And also the quarterback pose was used for 8 different ponies. So you could say it is the boy pose that was used for most different ponies. I can't show you quarterback. I think it was never released in Europe. I think it's one of the ones that was just released in the US, but it's definitely this pose. So we've got, for example, Barnacle or Daddy Apple Delight in this pose. Then actually we're getting to my first of the Sweetheart Sister poses on the list. The Dainty pose was used for 8 different ponies. And same, actually, I can show her, same time goes also for the other Sweetheart Sister pose that I have here, which is the Fancy Flower pose. So the Dainty pose, which is a more like straight pose, if you can see. compared to, she's also a little bit, but her legs are different and the head looks a little bit different. So there are different poses. The dainty pose, this is the fancy flower pose. By the way, this is dainty, so this is the pony the pose was named after, but both of these poses were used for 8 different ponies. Then we also have the baby surprise pose at the same spot. So a baby Pegasus pose. This is baby surprise. Yeah, I've got another one. Really sweet pose. And actually we're getting now to the, like, let's say top 5 already of baby ponies, because this with 8 different ponies used in this pose, it's actually the top 5 of baby pony poses. 9 different ponies were actually released in the lofty pose. So here we've got the lofty pose, an adult Pegasus pose. I don't have lofty. Lofty is also a So Soft pony, and many poses are named after So Soft ponies because the So Soft pony line is actually a very big line with many ponies, and very early, so many poses were first released in So Soft ponies, but I can never show you those because, as I said, So Soft ponies never made it over the pond to Europe, and also not that interested in them. But the lofty pose. Also the spring song pose, which is another one of the sweetheart sister poses, which is this one. It's not one of the straight, it's one that's looking a little bit more to the side. This was also used for 9 different ponies. So 9 different sweetheart sister ponies, like different releases completely in this pose. And the baby dangles pose, which is another one of the newborn poses. This pose was used for 9 different ponies. Also used for 9 different ponies is the baby tic-tac-toe pose. I don't have any pony in this pose. And the baby tic-tac-toe pose together with the baby dangles pose actually makes the spot number 4, like top use baby poses number 4. So with 9 ponies, so they are actually on the number 4 of the most used poses. And the only sea pony I can show you, this is an adult sea pony pose, the wave dancer pose, also released for 9 different ponies. That is something that sometimes is completely escaping me, that there are so many different sea ponies. 9 different sea ponies in this pose. And this is actually wave dancer, or it's wave breaker. I don't know. They look completely the same. They just got different shells because one was released in the US and one in the UK. So I have no idea if this is the UK or the US release because I don't have the shell. But anyways, the wave dancer pose. We're getting closer to the pony poses that were more used. So because now we have like at least 10 different ponies released in the poses, and we have the Gusty pose or the Shy Unicorn pose. I don't have Gusty. It's one that I kind of never get, like whenever I try to bid on it on eBay or something, I never get it. And when I ask someone like on eBay Kleinanzeigen, it's always already sold, like I don't know why. But Gusty, you can imagine, is exactly in this pose. And yeah, well, we are actually here on the top 2 of adult unicorn poses. So the Gusty pose is the top 2 of most used unicorn adult poses. Something to at least point out here. And also on the number 10, like with 10, not the number 10, but 10 different ponies released would be another one of the sea pony poses. So one of the baby sea pony poses, the backstroke pose. Picture. So there you can see there are so many different sea ponies, and the truth is I can never really tell them apart because sea ponies don't have symbols. You know, every pony got a symbol or cutie mark. C ponies don't have symbols. The only thing C ponies would have are like on the fins, different colors, but that's like, I can't tell them apart. And as I just have one C pony, it's like, I would never have guessed that there are so many different C ponies in 6 different poses. So the only pony pose with 12 different pony releases is the Shaggy or newborn Shaggy pose. This is newborn pony Shaggy, baby Shaggy, and yeah, I mean these newborn poses, some of them look pretty similar, just with one leg up in the air or not, but it always also surprises me completely that there are so many different of these newborn baby ponies and so many of these poses in general, but like 12 different ponies were released with this pose. Which actually is the top 3 of baby pony poses overall. Okay, let's get to the buttons pose. The buttons pose is as you can see, a unicorn pose. Was used for 13 different ponies, which makes it the #1 most used adult unicorn pose. So this is the adult unicorn pose that was used for 13 different ponies. There isn't any other adult unicorn that was used more. Adult unicorn pose that was used more. And also 13 different ponies released in the baby glory pose. Another unicorn, and that actually makes it the top 2 of most used baby pony poses. So for baby ponies I counted them like overall, not like with unicorn, etc. But yeah, 13 different ponies in the baby glory pose. This actually is baby glory. Let's keep it going with the top spots, because this is the surprise pose, and the surprise pose is the #1 most used adult Pegasus pose, with 17 different ponies released in this pose. By the way, this is a surprise, so it's a pose that you see quite often, and it's a very cute one. Is there another one? Yes, with 7 different releases, not 17 different releases, the Quackers pose. This is the Quackers pose, and as I said, used for 17 different ponies, but as it is an earth pose, I cannot give it like a number 5 or whatever, top 5 spot, because in general there are more there are more earth ponies and more earth pony poses. So, but this is one of the very like sideways poses. So if you would put it like front like this in your shelf, then they would always look to the side. This is the Quackers pose. I don't have Quackers, so these are 2 other ponies. Quackers is like Mimic from the same set, a very thought after Twinkle-Eyed pose, Twinkle-Eyed pony, and the first one ever released in this pose. But as you see, 17 different ponies released also in the Quackers pose. Okay, 19 different ponies were released actually in the gingerbread pose. So here we've got the gingerbread pose. It is actually, as I would say, the most like sturdy, stout pose, and sure enough, it was also used as a boy pose. Although it's not a typical boy pose, you know, it doesn't have the Clydesdale hooves or anything. But with the second set of family ponies, where like there are these 3 family pony sets, which are very thought after. They are released very late in the pony line, and they also had a mommy, a baby, and a daddy pony, and the daddy pony was like then done in this pose. So it is a mixed up pose of like a female and a male pose. And actually, to be honest, like this was one of my childhood ponies. So sports time, or Sporty in German. And for me, it always reminded me of a boy pony. For me, when I played, this was a boy pony. So it kind of makes sense. Although I had like no idea about that this was also used for a boy pose. for a boy pony, this pose in general. But the first pony released in this pose, Gingerbread. This is not Gingerbread, but I show you this pony, Sweet Stuff, because it is from the same set, also a Twinkle-eyed pony. And Gingerbread is very difficult to find in a good condition. It's a white pony, and you most often do not find it white, it's more like yellow. So that's why I've never pulled the trigger on it, and it's kind of expensive too, so. But I quite like this pose. Okay, let's talk about the collector's pose. The collector's pose is kind of something special because it is the pose that was like first released with ponies. The very first 6 ponies that were released were in this pose. And if I count this, like how many ponies were released in this pose, like the way I did, with like every new like name, doesn't matter how many times it was released all over the world in different variations, just counts as one. Then I count 22 different ponies, so it makes the next spot on the list officially. But if I really did it for this pony, I counted every single different release of also the international exclusive variants. That means, like, I don't know, a Blossom was used, was released like so and so many different times in South Africa or in Argentina and in Italy and in Mexico and everywhere in different ways with different colors, etc., etc. Then I come to 154 or 45? 54. 154 ponies released actually in the collector's pose. So you decide so that it is either the spot number 1 actually of the most used pony pose, or it makes the spot like quite like at the top 5, at the edge of top 5 of most used earth pony poses. So it depends. As the way I counted 22 different ponies in this pose. Also 22 different ponies I counted actually for the Sugarberry pose, which is this pose. This pony actually is Sugarberry, so with the strawberry theme going on, a twice as fancy pony. But many other ponies also released in this pose, 22 different ponies. So that makes these 2 pony poses the spot number 5 on the list of most used adult earth pony poses. That means we're officially in the top 5 list of most used pony poses, which now makes it the spot number 4, which goes to the bow tie pose. This is bow tie, very early pony, but as you can see, it has got number 4 on the list of most used pony poses. 23 different ponies were released in this pose without counting any international variations, etc., etc. So there are many different ponies in this pose. Just 2 examples. This is the bow tie pose. Next comes the crumpet pose. This is the crumpet pose, so kind of a little bit mirrored to what the bow tie pose looks like, you know. And Crumpet is a pony, as I explained to you, many ponies were first released as So Soft ponies. Crumpet is a So Soft pony, can't show you that, but I can show you like 2 other ponies here, for example, in this pose. And now we're making a jump to 27 different ponies released in this pose. Quite a lot. Didn't expect that. Okay, now let's get to a pose that I know many pony collectors actually do not really like, but apparently one of the most used poses, which is the Tootsie pose. So this is Tootsie, although this is not the first color variant that was released of Tootsie, because this is an Italian. Now this is an Italian white European Tootsie. There are like the first pony Tootsie variant was actually more greenish. But there are like so many different ponies that released in exactly this pose. Although I've heard from a lot of pony collectors, it's actually one of their least liked poses, which, to be honest, I find it also quite hard to photograph, like to get good photos of these ponies in this pose. I don't know what it is when I rank my pony poses where like the Tootsie pose gets in place, but apparently the number 2 of most used adult pony poses. I need to keep it here because also 28 times of different ponies released were actually ponies in 2 baby pony poses, which is the Baby Amber pose. Baby Amber, I don't have Baby Amber, was the very first baby pony ever released. It was a mail order exclusive, so kind of they tested out if baby ponies would make sense to children probably. And after that, it seems this pose was so successful and they released like altogether 28 different baby ponies in this pose. So the Baby Amber pose, like same amount of ponies released in this as, for example, the Tootsie pose and the Baby Blossom pose. So the Baby Blossom pose, also a baby pony pose with 28 different ponies released in this pose, which also makes it, together with the Baby Amber pose, actually the spot number 1 of most used baby pony poses overall. So these 2 baby pony poses were most used for pony releases in the Generation 1 baby pony line, you could say. Okay, so baby pony spot number 1 we know, and adult spot number 2 we know. What's actually the most used adult pony pose, except for if you would count international exclusive variants? We already said that the collector's pose would be the most used pose. Do you know which one's missing still? The posy pose. I used the posy pose as a good explanation example in my first video when I explained those different poses, etc. And it makes sense because she is like, this is the most used pony pose overall. Because let's flip the page, because it's the next page. Way more than the other one. You know, the last numbers that we had were 28 different ponies released, and this is like, we have, as I counted, 35 different ponies released in this pose. And yeah, it depends if you count, like, for example, these little bit added poses into that, which I think I didn't even, then it would be even more, but 35 different ponies in the posy pose. This is posy, so the first pony released in this pose and used from very early on until very late. We actually have them, the most used pony poses of the adult ponies in Generation 1. So number 1 is posy pose, number 2 is the Tootsie pose, number 3 is the crumpet pose, number 4 is the bow tie pose, and number 5 are the collector's pose and the sugarberry pose. As you see, like, all of them are earth pony poses, so let's get out at least the number 1 most used pony pose of the unicorns, which is the buttons pose, and for the Pegasus ponies it is the surprise pose. So, and here we have also now the most used baby pony poses. So number 1, Baby Blossom pose and the Baby Amber pose. Number 2, the Baby Glory pose. Number 3, the baby, newborn baby Shaggy pose. Number 4, the also newborn baby Dangles pose. And actually number 5, the baby surprise pose. Actually, I should have included the baby sea ponies here, because yeah, there are quite a lot, and they would have made the top 5 list. But as I don't have any, I just, like, let's say, put them away for now, not put them on the top list because I don't have any, and you could say they could not count as ponies, blah blah blah, whatever. So let's keep it like this. Here are the most used pony poses of Generation 1, and I right now just decided to make the other ranking, like where I show you like my favorite poses, another video, so there will be a part 3 of my pony poses small series, and let's keep it going in that video because it's already kind of a long video. So I hope you had fun. It was a little bit like informative, which pony poses, like which pony pose is called like what, and which are the most used ones. So see you real soon. May the force be with you. Bye.